Friends, in our JSP sessions, let us first look at how JSP files are compiled. You would perhaps be aware that JSP is an extension of Java servlets. Servlets are used for the server-side programming done through Java. Servlets are used for getting data according to some requests of some clients. It compiles the data, that is, it executes some code, compiles the data, often connecting to a database, and then it feeds that into the HTML pages. But there is a problem there that when you are outputting something through servlets, you have to use HTML tags like the ones you see on the screen here, like this and this and this. Those have to be coded in. So Java came up with JSP, which is nothing but Java servlet code embedded in HTML. So we'll concentrate in JSP lectures particularly on the JSP side of Java. As we go along, you will see how we create variables and write the code and use objects, and also use requests, online HTTP requests, and perform HTTP responses. Now this is a very typical HTML page. In HTML, this is basically the hypertext markup language. It's a scripting language. So it defines how a web page should be built. Now in HTML, there's always these two tags, HTML and /HTML, within which the page data is written. Then we have a head and a body. Just like in case of C or C++, you have an open braces and closed braces. Similarly, you have a tag here. This is a tag language. You've got tags here. Then HTML tag open, HTML tag close, head open, head close. Head is basically, when you look at a browser, on top of you find a title bar which shows the name of the web page. That is basically the head part, and the title is given here. If you save this as an HTML on your computer and you run this through a browser, you just open this through a browser, not as myfirst.jsp, but you should save it as myfirst.html. Then you will see that on the title you have my first JSP page, and then the rest is blank. The rest is blank because the next part, which is the body part, is blank here. Now let us see how this plays out in an online JSP editor. So if I just so this is an online editor that you can very easily use from Coding Ground. For some of the lessons, we'll be using this with full with full recognition of Coding Ground's online editor, and with full thanks to them, editor and the compiler. Full thanks to Coding Ground. So now if I just use this and execute this, see, nothing comes out because it's in the title, and what I've done is actually not being shown in an HTML. Well, it is an HTML document, sorry, but it is not being shown in a web browser. So that part is clear. So as I said, it will appear in the title, but well, that title is not showing here because of the fact that it's not a web browser. It doesn't show the title. Now if I write in the body, we include the JSP code here. So then what happens? So now you can see in a 1-to-1 split the way it is playing out. So we've included we've included the comment, or rather the text. We include the JSP code here. This is in white, as you can see it. If you execute it, see on the right hand side you can see that it is appearing. Okay, so once again, if I execute this, if I do a split like this, once again you see we include the JSP code. This is what we wrote. So basically this is how you do it. Now there are various tags, various different elements of HTML which I encourage you to look up, but this is not a discussion about HTML. So when we'll be using JSP, we'll be using a limited number of HTML features which you will be obviously able to witness. Otherwise, if you do not know that, I encourage you to look up. w3schools.com, for example, provides a very good treatise on HTML, so please look that up. So now let us see what we can do with JSP. Now, as you all know, perhaps JSP is just Java code. As I said, Java code included inside HTML documents. So we will have to declare variables and use them as usual, except that we have to do it using certain types of tags, etc., which we'll see as we go along. So declaring the variables, let us just declare a variable called, say, I, and print it out. So declaring the variables is done using this kind of tags. But this is basically the scripting tag. Actually, this is not just the tag. Basically, if you want to do some scripting, it is done using a tag like this. This basically is the JavaScript tag. Inside it will be the JavaScript. Now you see here, if you want to declare a variable or something like a variable or a class variable, or declare an object or whatever, you write it like this, say integer, say I. Obviously you can use any of the syntaxes that you've seen, int I, comma, j, comma, and then you can just say k equals to 3. Right? Simple. Just like in Java you do int I, comma, j, comma, k equals to 3, which would mean that I is declared, j is declared, but they are not initialized. K is declared as an integer but initialized also. Just like that, you can simply also do 3 different values, say 5, say 4, like that. You can very easily do that. So what is the declaration part? The declaration part, as I said here, this is a script. The scripting is always done in open angle bracket %, then closed with % close angle bracket, always like this. Okay, but then and inside that there are certain small variations, like for example this one is for declaring some integers, etc. Okay. Now if we say for example, it's just a simple thing. Let's just say that we want to tell the JSP compiler that, look, these are just comments. Okay, so then those comments we will do like this. For example, once again the scripting tag should always be there. Always finish this so that you can write inside it. And here, sorry, beg your pardon, and here then this is the comment line. The following are declarations in JSP. Okay. You can do it like this. And effectively this will be written in the body itself. If you just include that, just to show you the difference between the comment and if you just include the code here, see, the same thing that I've written here, this is actually in comments, this comments, and this is in the body itself. Okay, so let's put a colon there just for the sake of having the punctuations correctly. Okay, so what does a comment do? The comment will just ignore this, but it will write this because these are not within comments. Let's see. Once again, on the coding ground editor, online editor and the compiler, we have the JSP code. And listen, be very careful about gaps and stuff. For example, look at this declaration comment. You see the comment is in blue. Now as soon as I just put a gap in there, the comment becomes white. That means it is not taking that anymore. That means if you put a gap there, just a gap there where the cursor is blinking, it is wrong. So see, close the gap. So basically what it is two dashes, that are minus signs with a percentage and an angle bracket close, and on the other hand it is an angle bracket open, percentage and two minus signs, with all of this together. Okay, now let's just execute this. Okay, so you see we include the JSP code here. The following are declarations in JSP, and you can imagine that the first one has been okay. Say for example, if I just put in the following, if I just write here directly on the editor, the following script, okay, like that. So a bit different. If I just execute that, you see the following script are declarations in JSP. So that means it is taking what is there in the body, but it is not taking inside the body. When we have that in comments, it is not taking it. Now you may say, okay sir, what happened why is it we are actually writing it the following script are declarations in JSP, we are writing it under, we include the JSP code here, but it is writing the sentence just after we include the JSP code here. What is going on here? Well, in this case, you see, in case of HTML, you have to include what is called para. So here you have to include what is called a para, and the para is given by the tag p. So first of all, we give it the para tag, and then here also you can give a para tag here also, and in the tag is front slash and p, and then this, execute this, there you are, it goes to the next para. These are the intricacies of the HTML script. Okay. So now you may say, sir, in that case, what happens if we so what do we do with these declarations? Well, why don't we first try to just why don't we just first try to print out these variables. So once again, any code will have to be enclosed within scripts. Because I ended the script there, let me just try this. Come down. Now we have a system.out.println. But in case of writing it out to the web pages, we have just the out.println, not system, because we are not using the system screen. We are actually using a browser. Here we are doing it through the online editor and compiler that is acting as a browser here, but we actually are going to write to a browser. So we don't use the system.out.println, we write out.println. Be careful about spellings, be careful about the gaps. These scripting languages are very, very gap sensitive, unlike your normal programming languages. In Java or C, gaps may or may not matter. In fact, in C and C++, these kind of languages are very, very lenient about the gaps that you put in, but not your scripting languages are not like that. Then you're not so lucky with the scripting languages. Now .println, and let's see, just normally, just as we do in Java. So I put a gap in there. J, put a gap in there. And finally K. And let's execute this. I beg your pardon, sorry. There would be a mistake there, sorry. I haven't closed the code. Sorry about that. So I have to close the script here. Okay, so execute. There, 543. Of course, if you did not put in these gaps here, you just chose to ignore these gaps. Then execute this. You'll have 12 because it's 1 plus j plus k, as you know. You can play around with it. For example, let's just do this just for fun's sake. Let us just do plus I plus plus, okay, plus j plus k plus plus, okay, and then let's do a small printout, out dot println, and do, let's use an I. I'm going to print out I. You can very well guess what is happening, but I'm just writing it out nonetheless. Here, this whole thing, as per the Java rules, are, as you know very well, it is being converted to a string. Sorry, beg your pardon, I don't need that. Just need the key. Okay, it is being converted to a string. Okay, why not? Why just not put J in there as well? Why should it be left out? Poor J. A small mistake here. Here I have not done here. So there you are. Okay. So what have I done here? I've done out.println. Look at this line here. Here. Out.println I plus j plus k plus plus. That means I plus plus I'm doing plus j plus k plus plus. This is an arithmetic operation all through. And the next line here, I'm trying to print I and j and k. This can only be done by putting it in a string so that they're concatenated rather than being used as plus operators. This is something I have talked to you about in our Java classes also. Now we have a gap in between, so you'll print I, whatever the current value is, and j and then k. So does it actually work? Let's execute this. There. So 13 and then 6 by 4. Obviously 6 because I has been plus plus. 4 because k has also been plus plus, and j on the other hand was made into 5 before it was taken there. So it was considered in 13, and but then it remained as 5. Very simple. Now if you remember that whatever we have in the small part here, the part below the editor is actually a small web browser. This is what, when you are running it, you'll have to run it through the Apache Tomcat web server on your machine. When you do that, you load this JSP page into the web server's root directory, and from there you use it. So we'll talk about that in a later video. For the time being, we'll be using online compilers. Now in this case, what will happen is that you see we are using this, and if you use that Apache Tomcat to use this, it will show up in Google Chrome or Microsoft Internet Explorer, whatever is being shown below. It's just an HTML decoder, so it's just like a web browser. So there you are. Now .println this. So once again, if you want to just put a new line in there, you see, we can easily do that by doing as before, the para tag. Now if you try to include the paras here, it won't work, and each time you are actually going to execute this will go on increasing because it is keeping a local copy. You see this copy, you see that 31, 12, 11, 10. You may wonder why it is happening. Each time you're doing it, it is not being refreshed, so the script inside is going on and it is keeping some local copy intact. So why don't we try to put an end to the out println and then use another script again. So let's just see. So now look what has happened, and look, see the difference between the previous one and this one. What I've done, what I was doing was this, that I was including a paragraph inside the scripting tags. As you saw, it won't work. If you just rewind the video a bit, you will see it. So what have I done? I have opened the script tag here. Okay, I have opened the script tag here, just one sec, and closed it again here, and then I have made a para, and I have sorry guys, this is obviously a bit tedious. So I've made the para here and made the script again, angle bracket open, percentage out.println, then percentage angle bracket close, and then /p, and then body. So if you execute this, so if you execute this, okay, now here it comes to the line below, but you may once again wonder why is it giving us 16 instead of 13 and 765. Well, that's because it is keeping, you see, this is a web thing, so basically it is keeping inside the web browser's memory, the variables are still live. So once when it is actually, it's like a static variable, so once when it is using the between two refreshes, or the two runs, the variables values are not refreshed. So what is happening here is that when it was first 13 and then 6, 5 and 4, when you run it again, it is becoming 16 and then 765. The only way obviously to do it is to reload it and do it. So if I reload this, for example, reload this, it comes out with its default. Now so let us look at the original file. What I've done, once again, this scripting tags and out.println, etc., then the paragraph tag open, then again out.println, and then the paragraph tag close. So this is what we're going to use in the online editor now. So this is our program ready for being run. Let's just execute this. There, coming down to the next para. So obviously we have 5 plus plus is 5 plus 5 plus plus is 6, and well, it's taking 5, and plus plus 4 is 3, plus plus 4 is 5 rather, and then k plus plus is obviously taking 3, so it basically should have given 16, but the next turn around it is getting another plus plus, etc., so it's getting another 3 in there, so that's 16, and then it's printing why it's giving it as 16. So 7, you can see from 5 I has become 7, so it's done it twice, and that is because obviously of the variables that are being stored are not being, because it can be a combination of things, mostly because that it is storing something in the in the context of the web page. Something's being stored without any without that being, statically stored. So if the session doesn't expire, we cannot have a second one. And let's just if we try to change I, let's just say 9. Sorry, once again, this I will be I, and if we execute this, so you see that it's taking 9 now, and let's change the line on top, I plus plus j and k pluses, which means that the same value of I is being used, unlike it happens with your normal compiler. So this is one thing about JSP you must remember that there has to be a complete reloading of all the variables, which I'm not being able to do here just as yet. Otherwise, what will happen is that the values will keep on increasing like this unwantedly. Which is evident from this fact. Now I've actually taken off temporarily, I've just taken off the paragraph, so it's all on one line. You can see 28, 11, 11, 10, again I execute it, it becomes 13, 6, 5, 4, again I execute it, it becomes 22, 9, 8, 7, again I execute it, it becomes 13, 6, 5, 4, again I execute it, becomes 22, 9, 7, depending upon how it refreshes. Okay, so depending upon how it refreshes. Now you may ask, sir, in that case what will happen? Well, basically, as you will see, there are methods which are called to refresh the entire thing again. So you have to call those methods to do the refreshing. Here it is refreshing according to the networks available. So there, see, it keeps on changing, keeps on changing. Okay, depending upon how far it is refreshed, it keeps on changing. Now back to the original one. It is nothing mysterious. Actually, what is happening is this I, J and K, the local copies that are being saved for the web browser here, and which is obviously not a very good web browser, because obviously it's just meant for showing you the compiled code. It is being run in some sort of Apache Tomcat server somewhere in the coding ground realm, and basically they're feeding you the variables somewhere, either on this device that I'm using or in the server. Some static values are being maintained. Whenever you are running the code again, the code is being performed on those preset or the retained values of I, J and K, and hence basically you got the trouble. Nothing if you just look at if you just follow the various so this is like doing it again with the same values retained after out println. If you retain the same values again, do that. Once again back. So if you just do it by hand also, you will see that a few iterations, those will be shown here, and after that, when it properly refreshes, it comes back to the original running of the code. Now in another way, if you look at it, inside the scriptlet, tag, I'm allowing another int l equals to 91, and this time I'm actually not declaring it the usual way using an exclamation sign at all, but it is inside the scriptlet and I'm using it. So Intel equals to 91. Let's see if this works. If I execute this, there, you see, when I print L plus H here, that's 94. Then it's taking the rest, I plus 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 j plus k plus 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 h, you work it out. Then printing I and j and k. But this time it has become 765. And then it has printed out the value of k in the end, just before the body. You can see outward printed L, outward printed k, it has printed out 91 and 5. Okay. Now you see here I have used, instead of println, just have used L plus k, system.out.print. Instead of that we are using out.print L plus k. And immediately when I execute this, you see 95 and 19, that is 95 which is coming from the first out.print, that is L plus k, the 91 plus, okay. So that's printed there. Yeah, there we got 94 and there. As I said, depending upon the how far the variables are refreshed, you will have a little bit of problem. Okay. So what is the difference between this? You see, look at 9416 and look at now. Okay. So it's keeping the variables intact. Anyway, this is the closest that we have got, but see, there's a gap. So if you do print out, when you do system.out.println in Java, it goes to the new line. Here it does not. Here it does not. What does it do? It actually just creates a gap. To go to a new line, you have to use the para tags, because this is HTML. Now here's another short and interesting program that I want to show you. Just simple, taking day, month and year, 25/5/2021. And I take a string. See, it has been declared within the scripts without the exclamation. Declared a string, which is you declare it as an empty string, as you do in Java. Then I'm adding day, month and year to it, and I hope to get a date out of that. So let's execute that. Okay, so there we are, 25. So if I just get rid of the following is the given date, execute this, there you go. Okay. The following is the given date, 25/5/2021. Now in another short interesting program, You can use obviously any operator that you like that exists in Java in JSP. It goes without saying. It's just common sense. But how do you use if else? How do you use loops, for example? Now here is the use of if else using ternary operator. See, I've got the same thing. Day equals to 25, month equals to 5, year is 2021. Now, first of all, here we're going to use the ternary operator. There we are. String date equals to null. String months equals to, if month is 1, then Jan, and if it is not Jan, then not Jan. Okay. If it is not Jan, then it's not going to say February or March or April. It's going to say not Jan. Okay. And obviously you can carry on doing if month equals to 1, question mark, then Jan, then colon, month equal to 2, then Feb. You can go on doing that, but it takes a huge amount of space to do that. That's why and it is obviously very jumbled up. That's why I have not done it. But you can obviously go on and do that. And then out.println date plus, as usual, date is that string where we are all concatenating it, plus day plus space plus months plus space plus year. Okay. Now if I just run it, what will happen? There. So 25 not Jan 2021. If I just change this, however, so let's just see what happens if I change it to Jan. Okay. Sorry, beg your pardon. Change to 1. So execute this. 25 Jan 2021. Now obviously we can do a little bit of playing about on it. Let's just try a little bit of that. Now here is another just small extension. Now let me show you. I've shown the ternary operator already. Now let us show you the if else. Once again the date has been created. So you see, we just added a little bit of font, okay, to our file. So here we are. Okay, so let's just go back to the original file here. Font that we have added. This is just HTML, nothing else. Font size equals to 28, type equals to Arial, color equals to magenta, end of font. And we just have this. Execute this. Here. It is the third quarter. So you see. Similarly, we can use things like bold, italics, underline like that. For example, we can just use out here. Mind you though that it has to be within. So if you want to underline this, just to remind everybody what quarter it is. The U for underline. That's the HTML characteristics. U for underline. Okay. And so out here, let's just try to replicate that here. So for example, if I just add here with the font, the underline aspects of it. So after the font, I want to go up here with U and correspondingly end it with A. Slash U. You see, that's the underline. Well, let's say I want the given date to be made into italics. How do we do that? We use the tag I. So let's see. Now here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to add bold and italics to the date, which is what I'm doing here. Bold and italic open, then splitlet open, then this is closed and bold close and italic close, and then I'm opening the splitlet again. Let's just see how it goes on the online editor. And this is the result. So you see, the given date is 25/5/2021. It is the second quarter. So that given date is 25/5/2021 is now in bold and italics, and the second quarter it is obviously in magenta and underlined. Another use is that of the heading. So you have heading 1, heading 2 like that. You can always use that. For example, when you say This is the if else. Here you can make use of heading. Heading 1, let's say heading 3, okay, and you have to close the heading 3. Heading 3 is a particular size of heading. End heading 3. Execute this. There. In front of you itself, it changed the following script articles. So it's not bolded or anything, it's just a heading 3. Just like that, you have also got heading 1. So it's going into this. Heading 1. Heading 1. Heading 1. When I execute this, you'll see, there you are. That's heading 1. The following script are if else in JSP, that is in heading 1. Whichever tag you're using in HTML, you have to open it and close it. This you have to remember. This you definitely have to remember, that about the tag in HTML, you have to open it and close it. Okay. So once again, we are using what are we using? Let's see. We are using this heading 1 for the following script are if else in JSP. We are using bold and italics. We are using for what? For this. For the given date is this bold and italics, and we are doing a little bit more for the quarter. We are setting the font size and type and color to respectively 28, Arial and magenta. Okay, and then we are doing and we are also underlining it. So when you are executing this is the result. You see the following script are in if else in JSP, that is actually in heading 1. The next one normal, but it's bold and italics, and the third one it is in Arial, and the color is magenta and it is underlined. Do you want to change it a bit more? Let's see. Let's get a bit more adventurous. Say, let's say we change this Arial. So we can change this to, now it's best to use one of the true type fonts. Okay, so basically let's use a Courier. Okay, and let us say we change this to no, let it remain 28 actually. Let's just be 28, and it's Courier. So execute this. You can see the actually it's not taking the Courier font. I think it's still stuck with Arial. Maybe we would try to change this Courier to Times New Roman. Let's see what happens there. There you can see the subtle change in the type of, it's now in Times New Roman. Codes are a bit different. Once again, if you look at it in Arial, change this from Times New Roman to Arial once again. Let's say Arial black, and we'll execute this. Sorry, may not be Arial black as it is. Just Arial. Okay. So as you can see, this is the browser thing, and just as you would run a JSP script, the browser will actually operate itself like that. Here you have to do it yourself. Obviously, in real server, the updating is done automatically by the server and by the code that you call. So thanks for joining me, and do join me for my next video on JSP.